Hi everyone, it's Jess, aka Colouring Bumblebee, and I'm back today with another video for you. Today I am participating in a brand new tag created by the lovely Shelley at Shell's Colouring Journey. This is the My Colouring Book Confessions tag. She has created a list of 23 questions which I have recorded down here that I will be going through in this video. And I thought this tag is brilliant. I really enjoyed watching her video, and she said it was a great way, if you're, say, first starting into colouring, of seeing a large variety of books that fit different everyone's different tastes, and it gives you a good sort of like overview of what's out there, as I have a really large variety of books to share with you today. And I'm going to start by tagging a few people. I thought to do so. Often I leave it open because I don't want to leave anyone out, but I thought I'll tag a few newer creators, so people who I have subscribed to in the last year and have started their YouTube channels a bit more recently. So I've got Vera at Zuvera Art, Lauren Reed Colour, Polly Puts the Colour On, Amanda ALJ Art, Paulina Art Stuff, Joe at Piggy Pens, Amy in Progress, Kate's Colouring Pages, and Holly Berry Colours. So we got some newer channels that may not receive a tag otherwise, so I thought I would tag you guys in this video. And of course, anyone else who wants to join in, please feel free. That is just to sort of like get the ball rolling. But I was really happy when Shell tagged me in this, because I think the tag is lots of fun. So the first question is the oldest book in your collection, and for me that is Johanna Basford's Magical Jungle. And I got this book kind of on a whim one day. I was in a shop in the UK called B&M and I came across this book, and funnily enough I had been looking at Johanna Basford books on Amazon the past few days before that and thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And it was only £5, so I picked it up. I already had a really bad cheap set of watercolour pencils, so I used them for some of my first pages, then bought the Creative Peaks pencils, which I used a lot in this book. Like this page was using the Creative Peaks. So yeah, I did a fair few pages, and as soon as I started it stuck. I used the Brute Venus squares on these. I used them a lot. They were kind of my second big pencil. Yeah, this was the first page I ever coloured, and that was using the cheap set of watercolour pencils. I mean, I did some interesting things for my first ever page, things that I would not do again this today, like outlining these leaves with different colours and putting a kind of pink highlight on the toucans there. But yeah, the blending isn't the best, but the colours, I do quite like the colours. It's interesting. I do have this whip that I would love to complete one day, just haven't got round to it. And another one, I'm not so interested in completing that one. But yeah, lots of pages in here. Still to colour, but I've still coloured a fair few in here. That was using Creative Peaks, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it is fun flipping back through my first ever colouring book and sort of seeing my journey in colouring. My first attempt at a blended gradient background, very stripy, wasn't using the best pencils. I think this was perhaps the second page I coloured, because I'm pretty sure this was also using the cheap set of watercolour pencils. Didn't even activate them, I just used them as pencils. Yeah, it's funny to think back to June 2022, me just sort of happening to pick this up in a shop one day. This one I was inspired by someone's coloured page on Instagram, so I cannot take credit for that one. I really did try and recreate what they'd done. My first attempt at a bokeh background, and I kind of have never attempted it since, which is funny. Super bright flowers. But yeah, I also sort of went in the back of thumbnails and occasionally tested colour palettes. Thought that was a neat idea in this book. Did some testing back here. And you even have a few single-sided pages at the back, which I do love those. So yeah, that is my oldest book in my collection, Johanna Basford's Magical Jungle. I think a lot of us started with Johanna Basford. I mean, for us in the UK, Johanna Basford is one of the only illustrators you can find pretty regularly in bookstores. We don't really have craft arty stores in the UK, not many really, and so it's hard to find colouring book artists, but Johanna Basford can be easily found, so that was my first one I ever got. And question 2, the newest book that you have bought, and that is this gorgeous book, the Une année de coloriage by Disney Hatchet Heroes, illustrated by Tracy D'Souza. And I have to say, this might be one of my favourite books I've got in my collection. I showed this on my most recent haul, and it seems that a lot of you agree with me that you really love this book too. I'm a big Disney fan, always have been, and I buy all of my Disney books from Lyrica.com. I find that for me in the UK, Lyrica is cheaper than buying from Amazon France, which is where you can get these books otherwise. Often they're about the same amount as they are, same price on Amazon France as they are on Lyrica, but Lyrica you get free shipping if you spend £15 or more, which that equates to about 2 books, so that's easy to achieve. Whereas Amazon France, you've got to pay for shipping. It's not too expensive, but yeah, you've got it just saves you a few pounds sort of here. I'm flipping through this quite quickly. You can see it in more detail in my Lyrica haul. I say Lyrica haul, in my colouring haul for October. Yeah, I just absolutely adore this book. The detail, the composition of all the pages is just absolutely stunning. Got so many characters to colour in. The paper is lovely and thick. I think it's going to do really well with basing with water-based markers, maybe even some ink tints or watercolour. Neocolour 2s I could try. Do need to do some testing. And it has 53 colouring pages in here, or 53 double page spreads, with the idea that you can colour 1 a year for 2026. If anyone does that, that would be extremely impressive. I say 1 a year, 1 a week next year. I'm getting confused. I love that cocoa one. Love it, love it. So many that I absolutely adore in this book. And I cannot wait to colour eventually. This would definitely be an impressive book to complete one day. Not sure when or if that would happen, but there we go. That is the newest book that I have in my collection, Une année de coloriage by Tracy D'Souza. Translates to 1 year of colouring. Okay, question 3, the most colourful page you've completed. Now this was hard because I do love using lots and lots of colours in my pages, but something sprung to mind from Rooms of Wonder, and this was the Rainbow Room page. And I picked this page because I coloured it for a prompt on Instagram back in 2023, and it was rainbow. Like the prompt was rainbow, or it was like a no neutrals challenge. That was it. You weren't allowed to use any neutral tones, no blacks, greys, browns on your page. So I challenged myself for this one. I thought the Rainbow Room fitted that challenge perfectly. If I did it without the constraints of the challenge, I probably would have been tempted to colour the sort of dresser here in a brown wood tone, and I actually love this blue colour I used. It's so bright and vibrant, really fits the tone of the page. Use blue for the floor and for the sky, a nice gradient in the background. And yeah, coming back to this, I still absolutely love it. There was another page in here that I thought was pretty colourful as well, and that's this one with all the bright rainbow colours, but this one I used some brown tones in there, so I thought that one was definitely the most colourful. And also this one, more pastel but still nice and bright and colourful. So yeah, I think those were some of my most colourful pages I've ever coloured in Johanna Basford's Rooms of Wonder. Then question 4, the most relaxing book to colour in. And I had to pick a colour by number, so I picked Disney Vitro. Something about colouring the sort of angular shapes of this I find so relaxing, and if I'm in a bit of a colouring slump and I'm sat at my desk, this is the book that I tend to reach for. And I have done a fair few. I think I've done about 40 something. I do have a tracker in the back. 10, 20, 30, 43 so far. So almost half. But yeah, I think this, out of all the colour by numbers, I think especially relaxing just because of how bright and colourful they are. I also love Vitro Tome 2, but I haven't coloured enough pages in that for it to be the most relaxing out of all the ones in my collection. Yeah, I just love all the colours. Really fun to colour, and the finished results always look lovely. I use pretty much only my Crayola Super Tips in this book, and then the outlines I just use a fine liner, and I do that myself because technically it doesn't have any outlines, but I think they look a lot nicer with the outlines for each of the sort of different colours. Yeah, some I outline more than others, like this one doesn't have as many outlines, just because I had a lot going on. Yeah, I could have picked any colour by number, but I thought this one especially, because of the bold shapes, just makes it extra relaxing to colour. There's not like many really large spaces to colour in if you break them down into their little stained glass segments. Makes it a lot more relaxing than, say, doing a huge sky. I find that stressful. Or like colouring a huge character all in one colour. It just breaks it down a little bit. I've done one more. Yeah, there we go. So that is one of my most relaxing books. I thought I should pick a non-colour by number as well. So I picked out this one, the Colouring Book for a Bright Day Together by Stella Park. And there's just something about this book that every time I colour a page in it, I love the process. I find it really relaxing. Just trying my best to copy the coloured page on the left and do my best to recreate it on the right. You can see I've got this work in progress here. It's been a work in progress for probably over a year now, but yeah, I just love it. I'm just picking matching colours. It involves a lot of colours, but I find that very relaxing. And it's great because it gives me new colour combinations and ideas that I wouldn't necessarily think of, like on this page. I love the colours of this page, and I would never think of colouring characters like that in this colour scheme, but works really well. And the fact that you've got 4 pages and some simpler ones makes it a really relaxing and enjoyable experience to colour. I did this one this summer, and this one was really easy because it had a very, very light layer of colour for the background here, so I just kind of intensified it a little bit with my pencils. The hardest bit was doing all these leaves. It was very hard to distinguish what was what, but got there in the end. Yeah, lovely, lovely fun book. Really unique colour palettes for me. Again, flipping through very quickly. And this is a book I'd love to see complete one day. This I did last year in November. I remember enjoying this process so much and just loving every single second of it. Yeah, I would like to get another one done here for autumn. We'll see. We'll see if I can squeeze it in. I love that page of the Christmas jumpers. I think it's so cute. So I have done this one, the Christmas tree. That one was a challenge to colour. all the little bits was really fun, but the tree itself and the background, oh, that was not fun. But on the whole, relaxing. There we go. That is the colouring book for a bright day together. One of my more relaxing books to colour in. Question 5. We have the most detailed / challenging book in your collection. I picked a couple out for this one as well. So first up, I've got the Squirrel and Residents of Antique Town by Mona. And I picked this because, wow, it is detailed. I'm just going to skip through the intro pages. But just look at it. So many lines, so much detail. And it's definitely intimidating to me. I absolutely adore the book. But look at that landscape of all the buildings to colour in. Some are less detailed, like these two. These two are okay. But I would say the vast majority of them are very, very detailed, with lots of little bits and bobs to colour in. Very large landscapes and scenes. Look at that one, the kind of cutaway view of the house. And this one with all the plants and flowers. Yeah, so many double page spreads in this book that are like, ooh, crazy detailed. I have coloured one page, and that was also quite a detailed one with all the different like little plants in the garden. Yeah, I'd say this is most detailed, but I don't know if it's challenging. The next one I have, I think, is more challenging to me, and I'll explain why. Wow, that one's a detailed page. But you still have pages here and there which are more like palette cleansers, less details to colour in. Yeah, I think almost everyone who has this book is a little bit intimidated by all the details. I love that Christmas market scene, so amazing. But again, so detailed. All the teeny tiny books. Another incredibly detailed double page spread of them getting married. And then we have some character pages at the back. They're different outfits, but yeah, I think that is definitely one of the more detailed books in my collection. The Squirrels and Residents of Antique Town colouring book by Mona. But then something I also find detailed but also quite challenging, and I haven't coloured in it yet because I find it so challenging, is the Dream Voyage colouring book by Melpomene Chattopanagiotou. And you do have some insanely detailed pages like this, but I love this page. The map. I think it's so cool. But I think these are detailed and challenging because they're quite like almost like surrealist. Like some of the details don't necessarily make sense. The fact that you've just got like water flowing into nowhere is absolutely stunning. But I find it very, very detailed, very, very challenging. I just don't know where to start or what page to start with. There are some which are a little bit simpler. Yeah, I think all of the kind of fantastical details to this book makes it extra challenging as well. I mean, they are stunning. I would have no idea how I'd approach that with the sea morphing into clouds, kind of spiraling around. I love that page. But again, very challenging. Reflection in the water. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous book, but challenging. And sometimes it's fun to have those pages to challenge yourself. And I know if you base this with alcohol markers, the details will become less intimidating. At least that's what I tend to find. Love that one. This one I would have no idea where to start with, how to colour it. There's a lot going on there. I do have another book that I find very detailed coming up later, but that one I felt was more appropriate for another of these questions. I love that one. Every time I flip through this, I'm like, oh gosh, it's stunning. But I'm like, I don't know where to start. This is going to be high on my priority list for next year. I don't think I'll get to it this year, but for next year for sure. I love that one. That one's not too challenging in my opinion. Maybe that one would be one I'd start with. I think a lot of people find Melpomene's art style very detailed. I think out of all 4 of her books so far, this is the most challenging, just because it's very fantastical, very, yeah, surrealist in a way. Like, what's going on here? I'm confused. I like details to be nice and clear at times, but yeah. That is the Dream Voyage colouring book by Melpomene Chattopanagiotou, one of my most detailed / challenging books. Then question 6 is the most unique art style. Now I found this question really hard because honestly, every colouring book artist is very unique. There's very few where I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this person, this reminds me of that. Everyone's very, very unique. But the one that I picked for this is Eerie, and this was not necessarily because the style is unique, but the way she creates artwork is unique. Because if you translate this at the beginning, you will discover that she illustrates each of these pages with a toothpick and goes through about 1,000 toothpicks illustrating a book. And I also think her art style is quite unique and distinct in of itself. The fact that it really hits that balance between details and sort of large spaces that you're allowed to that you can colour in and feel a bit more free in. Yeah, I think anyone who sees this artwork will know, yeah, that's Eerie. That's the illustrations with the toothpick kind of thing. The lines sort of have varying weights of it's not all just solid black. Like some bits are more faded because she's using a toothpick, which that is insane to be constantly dipping into the ink. So you can see I've coloured a fair few pages in here. I thought this would be the most interesting one to flip through as it's the one I've coloured in the most of all of her books. Yeah, I mean, almost every illustrator is unique. Like Hannah Carson's super unique. Like you see her artwork, you're like, that's Hannah Carson. Kirby Rosanis, Johanna Basford. Like everyone really has their own unique style. And that's what I love so much about colouring books. But, I decided to pick Eerie for this question. It just felt right. I know Shelley talked about Karolina Kubikowska, and I definitely agree with her. I just don't have any specifically Karolina Kubikowska colouring books in my collection yet. I would like one day, but not yet. I've got some pages from A Colouring Heaven. I thought I'd pick a specific book. There we go. That is in my opinion, the most unique art style, and that is Eerie, and that was the first romantic country colouring book. Then question number 7, I've got a few books to share with you here to represent kind of different categories in a way, and that is the book you've coloured in the most. First up, I've got 50 Mythical Miniatures, and this is coloured in the most because I have completed every single page in here, and I will flip very, very quickly through this. This was thanks to Melissa at Winter89 Colours for creating the hashtag Project Mythical Minis, where she picked 4 of these pages a month for us to colour, and I did keep up mostly on track with it. I did have some where I just wasn't feeling it that month and sort of coloured it a later month, or I coloured something earlier, and then in the final month of October I ended up colouring the last 12 all in at the start of the month, just so I could see this book actually completed. And it is amazing to have my first ever completed book. So this is by far the most coloured in book, as I've done 50 pages, 100% complete, or 52 technically in this book. The hard thing about this question is that sometimes, like, you may have coloured more pages in a book, but because it has a higher total number of pages, with the percentage it seems like you've coloured fewer. For example, if you've coloured 15 pages out of a 30-page colouring book, you've completed 50%, but if it's out of a 60-page colouring book, it's only 25%. So I tried to kind of look through my collection and see which book I'd coloured the most number of pages in. And it might be a book that we haven't seen in a while. But there we go, that was 50 Mythical Miniatures, my first ever fully completed colouring book by Camellia Angelkova. Then I've got Les Grands Classiques Tome 11, and I picked this because it has the highest percentage of completed pages with 57%. I was just like trying to work this out because that's 50 and 7. I've done 57 pages in this book, which I think is the highest number as well as the highest percentage, because there are 100 pages in this book. And I think I would quite like to complete it next year. I was thinking about doing that for this year, and then I coloured a bunch at the start of the year, and then I just didn't touch this book for ages. So I think it would be a good goal to complete it for next year. I think I worked it out that I'd have to do 2 double page spreads a month, like 2 of these. So 4 pages. I don't know why I said it that way. And then that would mean that this book is all complete next year. It is great flipping through and seeing lots and lots of coloured pages. There's not many big gaps between coloured pages, as I have done over 50%. I do try and spread them out throughout the book a bit. I mean, the Vitro I've also done almost 50%. I've done 40 something. And the Princess's first tome, I've done 40 pages in that. So these often appear high when I organise on Bookshelf to sort by percentage completed. They often are near the top of those colour by number books. Because yes, I have a few colour by number books, but I do colour in them a lot, as you can see. There we go. That is my most coloured in colour by number book, Les Grands Classiques Tome 11. And then the book that I have the most actual number of pages coloured in is Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford. And I believe it's 25. And this was one of my first books. I think I got Magical Jungle, then this. So it's got a lot of early colouring pages. And I did absolutely love it. It was my favourite Johanna Basford book for a good long time. I just love the creativity in this book. You've got such a nice variety of pages. Some cute florally ones like this. You've got some small victory ones like that. Animals, buildings, double page spread scenes. It was one that I was just very much drawn to, and I could be really creative in it with colour palettes. And I think this book kind of sparked my love for creating matching coloured spreads. So it's like I did this one first with the peachy pinks and the blues and thought, okay, I can bring those peachies over this side and the blues in the background, so they're nice and harmonious. I like doing that, and like we've got for this page as well. Yeah, it's a lovely book to look back on. I haven't coloured in it for a long time. I'm just more attracted to my other books in my collection now. I've had this as a whip for ages and ages. I'm not sure if I ever will finish it. I might one day. We'll see. It's just based with water-based markers. Yeah, I think that was the most recent one I did. That was February 2023. Quite a while ago. But yeah, still plenty of pages to colour in this. But because there's quite a few pages in this book, like 60 or 70, it's not my highest percentage. That's one of my project books. But this does have the highest total number of pages coloured. So that is Worlds of Wonder by Johanna Basford. Question number 8, a book you love but haven't coloured in yet. Now, if you know me, you know I do have quite the stack of untouched books, and honestly all of those could be featured for this question, but I decided to just pick one. And I'm picking one that I keep meaning to colour in and I just haven't yet. And it's quite a new release, but that is Spooky Colouring Adventures of Witch Cat by Sarah Shevchik. And I just need to colour in this book, and I think maybe I will leave this out on the side and do something like this little cat at the start, just to get something done. These little creatures would be good as well. But I really love this book. I think I love it a little bit more than I do the first one by Sarah. I just like the scenes and the detail of this book. It's got a really nice variety of pages. Still got the signature kind of like jars. But it's got more of a story going on in this book. Whereas the first one was more just how the witch cat lives her life. Whereas this one, she's travelling through portals and it's really fun. It is a book for a full book colour along hosted by Christina at Christina's Art Corner. In fact, that's the page for November. I don't know if I will get to that one because it's quite detailed. But there was a page picked for October that I really wanted to get done, and I just didn't quite get enough time to get it coloured. And that's this page. In fact, I've still got the flag in there. Still really want to colour in that. Be a great one to start with. Yeah, I've had this book a couple of months now, since I think September, late September, and I want to colour everything in this book, honestly. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And just something, well, I know why I haven't. It's because I've been busy with other plans. I think this is definitely the top of my list of ones that I'm really itching to colour in. I don't necessarily have a specific plan or buddy colour picked for it. I love that little frog guy at the back. Yeah, I like how she has these extra pages of different characters that you can test supplies and mediums on, which is a bit more interesting than just swatching. So that is Spooky Colouring Adventures of Witch Cat, a book that I love but haven't coloured in yet. And question 9, a book that you would save in a fire. Now this was really hard because I think in Shelley's video she picked one that was out of print or a really expensive book. I don't really have any like hard to find or expensive books. Like they're all pretty relatively easy to find. And I thought I would just pick my most special book in my collection. And for me, that is the Disneyland Paris colouring book. The huge book that I did feature in my Does Book Size Matter tag video that I did a couple of days ago, hosted by Jo at Piggy Pens. And I think I would save this in a fire because not only is it just a gorgeous, stunning, amazing book, but I did get it in Disneyland Paris. Whereas everything else I'm like, yeah, I'd be sad to lose that. I'd be sad to lose all my books, I really would. But I could replace it. Whereas this wouldn't hold the same sentimental value as it does right now. The fact that I bought this at Disneyland Paris. I was really amazed when I actually saw it in the shops because I heard it was there, but like actually finding it is another thing. So that was really exciting. And it is an absolutely gorgeous, stunning book. I was tempted to pick this for intricate and challenging, or a later question with the most intimidating book. But I thought, let's highlight it for the book I'd save in a fire. I'm grabbing this, grab my phone, and I'm going. If I could grab a whole bookshelf, that would be also great. Just stack up the books. Sorry guys, got one more trip. Go back into the flames. It's worth it. For the books, it's not worth it. Everything's replaceable, it really is. And I was tempted to pick something that I'd coloured a lot in, but I thought, you know what, I could just colour the pages again. Like, that's absolutely fine. So this was the book that I ended up deciding on to save in a fire. Again, if I had something that was uber expensive, this was also quite an expensive book, to be fair. Maybe I'd save that, or something that was out of print. I don't have any of those books yet. I would really love one of Tomislav Tomic's books. But yeah, that is the book I'd save in a fire, the Disneyland Paris colouring book by Tracy D'Souza. Okay, question number 10, book with the best paper quality. And I picked this one, the Jardin à l'Anglaise colouring book, or English Gardens colouring book by Gail Lottier. And this is published by Marabou. I know a lot of people love Marabou books and they've talked about it for a long time, saying how amazing the paper quality is. And I have to agree, it is super, super thick. And I have started a page in here, so you get a little sneak peek of one of my whips for the month. And I have based this with water-based markers. In fact, I did do a bit of blending with them directly on the paper. And not a speck has come through. It's not crinkled or warped or anything. It has performed really, really well, and I just know that pencils are going to layer beautifully on top of here. I do have another book by Marabou, the Microcosm, but I thought I'd share this one as I've actually done a tiny bit of colouring in it. Yeah, the paper quality in this one is wonderful. I could have picked some other books, but I do really like the paper quality in Mythographics. I really love the Lomart paper in the A4 books, as well as the Kirby Rosanes books. I've really loved that paper. But you do get a little bit of bleeding through if you use a bit too much water. Whereas, I mean, I suppose you might get it in this book. I need to test it out. Do need to do some more proper testing in this book. But from what I can gather, this has some of the best paper quality in my collection. And it's nice and smooth. I feel like pencils will, but still has a bit of tooth to it. So I think pencils will go on really nicely. And while the artwork is also just absolutely stunning as well. The gorgeous double page spreads. Definitely want to test watercolours in this book at some point. So many gorgeous flowers. So there we go. That is the book I have with the best paper quality in my opinion. That is Gail Lottier's Jardin à l'Anglaise. Question 11. We've got your favourite grayscale colouring book. Now this was an easy pick for me because I really only have one artist that has grayscale colouring books. Looking at my collection, not really anything else has grayscale. Grayscale isn't my favourite. But the way Christine Karen does her grayscale, I think, is stunning. Just makes colouring portraits so much easier. It's a really light grayscale, so you're not... Sometimes grayscale can be a bit too harsh, whereas this is just the right amount to give you an idea of where to put your highlights, where to put your shadows, which when colouring portraits and skin and hair is super, super helpful. And I've got 3 of Christine Karen books. I just picked the first one to share with you. The paper in this is also really, really nice. It's a lovely cream colour. I do like my white paper, but for this book, I like the cream. I have done this one, Flora, and yeah, the shading was just so simple, so lovely. I really love how these lily flowers turned out. They look like realistic. The rest not so much, but the lily ones really do. You could use alcohol markers in this book, and that would be really simple colouring. Now, I do have some other grayscale images in Colouring Heavens, but I think these, I'm looking at my books right now, I think these really are the only ones that are, it's a whole book where it's grayscale. Because as I said, it's not generally my thing. I like that I've got these books and then a few Colouring Heavens which have the odd grayscale picture here and there that I can experiment with if I feel like it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to colouring even more pages in this book and the two new books. They are stunning ones to have in your collection. A nice Christmassy one. There we go. This almost at the end here. Trying to flip through fairly quickly. That is the Wildflower Folk colouring book by Christine Karen, my favourite grayscale colouring book. And question 12 is a question I've hinted towards throughout the video. It's a book that intimidates you, and I knew instantly I was picking this one. It is such a stunning book. This is Fantastic Worlds by Alessandra Fusi. And this book is gorgeous, but it is intimidating because it's so detailed and because every page is a double page spread. So that's intimidating in itself, because it's a lot easier to do a single spread, and it's definitely takes a lot more effort to do a double. Some are less detailed like this one, but a lot of them are very, very detailed and very, very intimidating. So I could have picked this one. I thought this one fit the intimidating book best rather than most detailed or challenging. And I didn't want to repeat books. Yeah, there was definitely a bit of overlap with those two for me. This one, oh, it's so stunning. But yeah, I am a little bit intimidated, a little bit scared to start in it. I will one day, I know I will. I love that one of the witch. And I have seen some incredible coloured pages on YouTube and Instagram. Look at that one with the dragon. Love it, love it, love it. And this was a book that was kindly gifted to me by an anonymous viewer. It had been on my wish list for a while, but again, I'd been intimidated by it. And just to have it as a art book in my collection is just amazing. But yeah, definitely need to colour a book in here eventually. Look at that one, stunning. Wow, want to practice colouring gold coins? That's the page for you. I think for me it's got some large background elements that I find backgrounds intimidating. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Absolutely gorgeous, created book, but very intimidating. That is Fantastic Worlds colouring book by Alessandra Fusi. And question 13, a book that you would like to finish one day. And since I have just finished the 50 Mythical Miniatures book, the next book that's on my radar to complete, other than the Grand Classiques Tome 11, high on my list is Kawaii Tarot by Lulu Mayo, and I would really like to complete this by the end of next year. I'm really not sure if that's going to be possible, but I've got a plan. I've got a plan of attack, because these pages are a lot more detailed and take a lot more time than the 50 Mythical Miniatures ones. But I'm trying to get a bunch coloured in before the end of the year so that I am in a good position to complete the rest before the end of 2026. In fact, I think I might leave this book out to the side and colour in it after this video. But I've been colouring these Major Arcana cards in order, so I've got the Hermit next. And if I get the Hermit done, then there's 12 pages that I could do one a month of these for next year. I would quite like to get maybe 2 more done other than the Hermit, just so I've got a bit of leeway if I'm not feeling one of the large cards one month or I'm stuck on it, then I can skip that month or do it the next month. And then these Minor Arcana cards, I have been doing all of these as buddy colours, which has been lots of fun. And I have gone through and written down all of my buddies on the pages. So if you would ever like to buddy colour in this book with me, definitely reach out. I'll always try and squeeze it in. I do have 3 planned for this month, so that will be great to get a few more done. Now 50 mythical miniatures is done. This is my next focus, and one you will definitely be seeing a lot on my channel over the next year, popping up every month. But this book is great for my Lulu Mayo scavenger hunt challenge, where I have 4 prompts each month, and you can colour a page from any of Lulu Mayo's books containing at least one of the prompts. Sometimes you can have 2 or 3 prompts in the picture. Yeah, lots of these were coloured for my prompt challenge. But there we go. That is the Kawaii Tarot colouring book by Lulu Mayo, a book that I would love to finish by the end of next year. Question 14, the best book for practicing new techniques. Now this was another tricky one because there's another question later on that I thought could fit both of these, but the one I ended up picking was Mythographic Magical Earth by Joseph Kattenbang, and it's because I have used it to practice new techniques in colouring. I think the fact that it's single-sided means that you can be a little bit more loose and free and experimental with what you do on the pages, because they're single-sided. If it warps, if it bleeds through, it doesn't matter. Like, this was one of the first Inktense backgrounds I did, I think, and it is a bit warped, but it was great practice for me, and it allowed me to try something new. And this one, I think especially the Magical Earth one, has really good quality paper. It's got a nice tooth to it, quite thick as well, because the mythographic books do change their quality of paper. There are different ones, but I will mention the book later that I was also thinking about for this question. I did this one. Yeah, I think because it's single-sided, I wanted to pick a book that was single-sided for this question. I practiced blending soft pastels in a more interesting way for this one. Not the most interesting of new techniques, but it was a new technique. But yeah, the single-sided nature means that you're not worried about ruining the page on the back, and you can really just go crazy with trying new things, and the paper quality of this is good. Whereas a lot of my single-sided books are Amazon print quality or just lesser quality books, whereas this is really good quality paper, so it's great for experimenting with new techniques. I'm not the best though. I like to stick with what I know, I'll be honest, and don't tend to branch out all too often. Yeah, if I do, a mythographic is a great book to do that in. There's another one that I've done on the last page of the book. So that is a book that I like to practice new techniques in, Mythographic Magical Earth by Joseph Kattenbang. Okay, question 15, most affordable but great quality book. And for me, I tried to pick something that was pretty affordable, like less than £10 for me is affordable and still great quality. I picked this one by Art Therapy. It's Bourdepois, illustrated by Diane Dufour. You also have Lunar Therapy, illustrated by the same artist. And this paper is great. Pencils work amazing on it. It is double-sided, but I think I looked on Amazon beforehand and it was £6 or £7, so really affordable. Great quality paper. You can play around with lots of different techniques. I know lots of people use Inktense in this book. That was one of the pages I coloured last year for autumn. In fact, I based that with water-based markers and absolutely nothing bled through on that one, which is always good. Yeah, I know lots of people like using Inktense and water-based mediums in this book. The paper handles it really well. So it is definitely great quality, but still affordable and easy for people to add to their collections when they're first starting out. And I love that it's split into the 4 seasons. This one starts with autumn, then winter, and then we are about to move into spring here. I've done one in each seasonal section, or at least one, and I used metallic watercolour on this one, and that worked really well for the background. No warping it either. Yeah, I'd definitely recommend this kind of book to a new colourist of wanting something a bit cheaper but still great quality. This is a perfect option for you. We're in summer now, and I've done one more towards the end here. Here we go, and look how smooth I managed to get this background with the polychromos. Absolutely loved doing that. It's a lot of fun and really beautiful finish of pencils. Yeah, that's the last page of the book. So, book with great quality paper but still nice and affordable is Boule de Poire by Diane Dufour. I went to pick my next book and I realised that I actually picked several books for this to answer this question. So that was one book that with great quality paper but still affordable. Another one I picked was Kirby Rosanes's books. So I've got Mythic World here, and I picked this up at the time for £5 on Amazon. They had a deal for them, and I think this paper quality is brilliant. It handles water mediums really well. In Alien Worlds, I'm using only Inktense in that book. All pencils lay down really lovely in this book. I tend to use polychromos because they're my favourite, and they do work well in here. Here I use black acrylic paint for the background. But yeah, Inktense works really nicely. You do have to be careful. Like, I will show you, I have had some slight bleed through, like the tiniest dot and speckle there and there, where on this page I did use a lot of water, and it's a little wrinkly, but it has flattened out a lot, and I did throw a lot of water at this page, and I went over the top with pencils to intensify it all. Yeah, amazing quality. You see some tiny speckles here. Those are going to be really easy to cover up. But yeah, I think these books are really affordable. You can often find them for less than £10, even as low as £5, like I got mine for. Did this one based with markers and shaded over the top with pencil, and the same for that one. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful book that I absolutely love colouring in it. And it's another one that definitely sparks my creativity. Could have used it for that one. Here's a whip I've got going. But yeah, there we go. Another book with lovely paper quality that's still affordable. Mythic World by Kirby Rosanes. And then the third book I have is Oceans to Stars by Lydia Fenwick. This one's a little bit more expensive, but I think the paper quality in this is just divine. It's kind of single-sided, and by kind of single-sided, like, you've got the main image here and then just a tiny thing on the back. So if you're wanting to colour that, then it's not single-sided, but if you're not bothered by that, then you can use alcohol markers. I'm sure water-based mediums are going to work really well in here. And I just adore this art style. Again, very affordable for the quality of book that it is. I think it's just over £10–12. I just had to share it. I could have included this for book with best paper quality, to be honest, but I'm showing it now. Here's a page I've done, based with water-based markers, shaded with pencils. Super bright and vibrant, and 0 bleed through. So that's brilliant. It's one that I've started, just based with the water-based markers and done a bit of pencil shading on her skin. Again, nothing bled through on that one. yeah, I'm really looking forward to colouring more pages in this book. I think with the mermaid section I might have to bring out some water-based mediums. Maybe even for the star section too. Could be fun for these kind of galaxy backgrounds, playing with different colours with the galaxies. That could be a fun challenge. So I tend to do my galaxy backgrounds like black, blue, purple, maybe a bit of pink. But you can use all sorts of colours for galaxies. There we go. That is the Oceans to Stars colouring book by Lydia Fenwick. A reasonably affordable book with absolutely amazing paper quality. Okay, question 16. Book you would recommend to beginners. Again, I've got a few here because I thought I can't just recommend one when everyone has their own sort of specific art styles they prefer over others, and something that one person would like as a beginner, someone else would hate. So I've got a couple of options. But one that I wish I had when I was a beginner colourist is Johanna Basford's Small Victories. The fact that it is such a small size, and for me, something that I'd recommend to beginners is pages which are easy to decipher what's going on. Like the line work is very clear, very clean. It's a mushroom with flowers, boom, done. You can play around with limited colour palettes. You can really have fun experimenting in this book. And they are nice, easy wins, but still gorgeous, beautiful designs, and not as intimidating as the large square format books. This is one that you could easily get a bunch of pages done as your very first colouring book in your collection. I kind of look back and think, oh, I wish this existed when I first started colouring, but it didn't. It's okay because I coloured loads in Worlds Within Worlds instead. And Magical Jungle is another page I've done. But yeah, it's a nice book for experimenting as well. You can do traditional colour palettes, more crazy colour palettes, limited ones for some simpler pages like this. Maybe using a colour palette challenge, or like random colours. I think that would be really fun in these books. And the paper quality is really nice, so your pencils, any pencil set you get will work really well on this book, or in this book I should say. Here's another one that I've done, more recent one, using quite a cheap set of pencils there. And I've decided to make this a bit of a challenge book for myself, using limited colour palettes and the 72 set of Stedler Design Journey pencils, and just using them for the rest of the pages in the book. I haven't done it for all of them, but for the rest of them I'm going to set that challenge for myself. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this to beginners. It's really easy and approachable. You're not going to wonder or get confused over what the elements are on the page. You've got some more bigger scenes and then little objects for a nice variety of colouring. So that's Johanna Basford's Small Victories. Another one I'd recommend is any of the Matchstick Mouse books. I picked this one because it was the one that I started with, and you can see some of my early colourings in it. It is Amazon printed paper, so pencils don't work the best, but if you've got alcohol markers and you're just starting out, those work amazing in these books. But I can show you pages like this, which I coloured only a few months after I started colouring with the cheap Creative Peak sets of pencils, and they do work pretty well. You can get a nice colour lay down and do some nice shading and whatnot. And I just think these pages are so cute in their circular design. You've got some which have a little bit more going on, but a lot are quite simple, easy to distinguish what's going on. You've got a recurring character that is really adorable. Lots of fun little scenes. They don't take too long to colour like a big full page or double page spread would. These are nice, quick, easy wins that are always going to look great coloured in, so definitely a good book for beginners, as this was one of my books as a beginner. See, went a bit more fun with that colour palette with the purple snail. Playing with different colour palettes, and there's so many different Matchstick Mouse books now. You can pick one based on the season, based on the theme you like more. But I just thought I'd show you this one because it does have my early colourings in it, as well as a couple of more recent ones, as I have come back to this book, like this one. This is using the exact same set of pencils as I did on this page. It just goes to show that once you become more used to colouring and better develop your technique, you can create even better results using the exact same materials. And the same with that one. That's a more recent, whereas that one was 2022. So that's a really nice sort of comparison that I have there. Nice book to show my progression. So yeah, definitely recommend any of the Matchstick Mouse or any books by Morgan O'Brien to start with your colouring. And another book I'd recommend is, or another artist, is Maria Troll, specifically Ostida Seasons, although I do have the compilation book here as a replacement because this one isn't as easy to find yet. It will be next year, so if you're watching this in a year's time, then this will be released in the English edition, probably around summer 2026. But I think this book is great for beginners because you've got nice scenes, like interesting things going on, but nice bold lines, really easy to identify what's going on in the image. Lovely seasonal pages, so you can colour this any time of year and find a page that suits your mood. You've got portraits, you've got animals, you've got landscape scenes, a really great variety, which I think is good for beginners as well, and lets you sort of determine what book is for you, or what artist is for you, or what styles you like. Because that's another thing I'd recommend for beginners. Test several different colouring artists. When I first started colouring, I bought like 5 or 6 Johanna Basford books, and they dominated like 50% of my collection for quite a while. Whereas I think nowadays I would look at all of the Johanna books, pick one, and then maybe pick up a Maria Troll and a Morgan O'Brien. Getting a bit more crazy, let's go for a Kirby Rosanes or a Mythographic. Like, just having one book per artist can help you better determine which is your style more easily. So I think this book is brilliant for beginners and also more seasoned colorists, because the line work is simple, but you can add lots of extra details if you want. So that is the Seasons book. But I also, in place of that, for something that's easier to access right now, is Maria Troll's Universe. And I think this is one of the best compilation books out there. And if you're wanting to test out an artist and test out their books before diving into one, this is like the compilation book to get. It's got such a great variety of images picked from her older books, and quite a lot of exclusive pages, I think over 20. So even say you decide to buy some extra books, like you really like all the Luna pages, so you buy Luna, or you go, okay, looking for, not so much a fan of the Nightfall one, so I won't be buying that one to add to my collection. This gives you a sort of great starting point to see which specific book from that artist you like. And it's great because you've got all of the names of the books at the bottom of the pages. And even if you do later get these other books to add to your collection, because of all of the exclusive pages in this book, it still feels like it's worth having in your collection. Yeah, definitely would recommend this one to beginners. It's a page I've coloured. I have done a few in here, and I think Maria Troll's work, this one has an index at the back of all the plants and animals, so you can find reference pictures. And I think that's what's lovely about Maria's work, the fact that you can, with our older books, you can look them up, be inspired by those colours, and you're not feeling as stuck. Or you can do them crazy colours, doesn't matter. I've done this one as well, nice simple one. I've done that one in Botanicum actually. Is that the one I've done? Yeah, really lovely variety in this compilation book. And I think one of the best compilation books out there because of all of the amazing exclusive pages that you get. And a great selection of fan favourites from previous books as well. So there we go. Those are a few books that I would recommend to beginner colourists. Maria Troll's Universe or the Seasons book. Question 17, a book that sparks your creativity. And this was the book that I was on about when thinking about book for practicing new techniques. And that's the Pop Manga series by Camilla de Erico. I look at this book and I feel inspired to practice new techniques. The paper of this is really lovely. It handles water mediums like a dream. You will see one that I've done later on where I've used watercolours, and I really went for it because I was learning how to use them and it worked really well in this book. Neocolor 2s also work great. I'm sure Inktense will. Coloured pencils as well. But I feel like this one sparks my creativity. The fact that I can play around with different colours. Go for something a bit more crazy with my colour schemes, using different mediums than what I'm used to, just because of the sketchy style of artwork. And the fact that the paper quality is really, really lovely helps sort of spark that creative process. And I love all the bees in this book specifically. Yeah, this was my first Camilla de Erico book and really sparked my love for her this year. I'd always admired her artwork, but I wasn't sure if I'd colour in it. Coloured my first page and I was like, yep, I'm obsessed. It's official. So I've got 4 of her books now. But just, yeah, all the bee pages. Love it. Here is the one that I've done using watercolours to make this galaxy background. A little bit of warping, but nothing bled through. And I put a lot of water on this page and it handled it so well. Has me excited to try it again for different pages, playing with different colours for the backgrounds. And yeah, I just feel inspired to be creative in this book. And seeing works from other people as well inspires me. Yeah, that is the Flights of Fancy colouring book by Camilla de Erico, a book that sparks my creativity. Question 18, the most nostalgic or childhood inspired book. I was tempted to pick a Disney one because for me, Disney was my childhood. I watched a lot of Disney films growing up. But I decided to pick this one, the Colouring Heaven Alice in Wonderland special, because yeah, Alice in Wonderland was a Disney film, but something about this art style is very, very nostalgic. It's like a children's storybook in a way. And the story of Alice in Wonderland is very childhood and nostalgic for me. And in fact, I coloured a page in here for a prompt, a nostalgic page or a page inspired by childhood. I coloured it from this book, so I thought this is the perfect book to represent that question for this tag. And I just think these pages are stunning. And I'd love to colour lots and lots of pages in here. Like something about that. So, like, just reminds me of being a kid. All the macarons and sweets surrounding her. Just love it. Here is the first page I did. And then this was the page I coloured specifically for a page that reminded me of childhood. Because I think carousel horses, riding a carousel is just such a childhood inspired thing for me. Something I'd always want to do. Every time I saw a carousel, I was asked to go on it. But yeah, you could definitely add all of my Disney books in for this question, but I thought that wouldn't be as interesting, and this is showing something a little bit different. Well, I think because it's got that story behind it as well, any book that goes through a story is quite nostalgic for me. So I did read lots of little storybooks when I was younger. And Love that page. Yeah, so many in here that I want to colour. But that is the book that I picked for a book that is the most nostalgic or childhood inspired for my collection, the Alice in Wonderland special by Eva Nikunen. And question 19 is the book with the most variety of pages, and one book sprung to mind immediately, and that was Leon's Journey by Kaneko Agusa. And I will share with you why. We have some gorgeous full page scenes in this book and smaller characters, and I think that's what I love about this book. You've got wreaths to colour, full page scenes, something a little bit smaller, something with a border. You've got these little small victory individual pages, something with like a collection of objects. And then you have these boxed images of little scenes within boxes on one page. And just all of that added together, I think, leads to a book with such a lovely variety of things to colour. And it's also got variety in terms of seasons. It goes throughout the 4 seasons of the year. So that makes it like a book with a large variety of pages to colour. Got some more wallpapery pages, ones with frames. Yeah, I love these with like the little comic strips, like horizontal boxes that kind of convey the story going on. Because again, this is a book that goes throughout, has a story going throughout, whilst also travelling throughout the seasons of the year. Yeah, like little ones for if you haven't got too much time to colour, and then ones where you can really sink your teeth into. I think out of all my books, this is the one that has the most variety in terms of that. Of, okay, I feel like doing something small, I could come to this book. I feel like doing something big and detailed, come to this book. I feel like doing something mindless and just a wallpaper page, come to this book. Yeah, I thought out of all of the ones in my collection, this was the one that instantly sprung to mind. And is definitely one of my favourites in my collection as well. The only thing that would add to the variety would be some double page spreads. I do kind of miss that in this book, but it is absolutely stunning. But there we go. That is the book with most variety in my collection, Leon's Journey by Kaneko Agusa. Okay, question 20, a seasonal favourite book. And I decided to split this into different categories. So a book that I'd reach for in each season of the year. I thought that would be a fun way of interpreting this question, because I love a book that goes through the 4 seasons. I've got a lot of them. It would be hard to pick just one. So I thought, okay, what's the most quintessential spring book? And this was hard, but this was the one that came to mind. This is the, what does it translate to? Cats and Their Cute Friends on a Flower Path colouring book by Aikawa Sora. And I just think this book just screams spring. Like, look at that. All of the cute florals and animals in this book. I just see it with beautiful spring, bright pastel colours. It was hard to find a book that was specifically spring based, but I was looking at them and I thought, yep, definitely this one. Then I flipped through it and I was like, oh yes, spring all the way. Spring all the way. Absolutely. Like little rounds in a field, such a spring kind of page for me. And I think this will be one that I'm not drawn to colouring right now, but I know I will be when it comes to spring next year. And I will definitely want to colour a lot in here. It's just a perfect book for the spring season. Like, what more could you want? I mean, this one, I suppose you could colour it autumnal, but you could just colour them as leaves that have fallen off the tree, like green leaves. I'd say the majority of these pages just scream spring to me. And one of the only books in my collection that I felt that way. I do have the 4 colouring heavens, spring, summer, autumn, winter, and I thought that would be boring to be like, oh, I picked this one for this season because obviously that's spring based because it's called spring. So I thought I'd pick some more interesting ones. So that is this book, The Flowers, I always forget what it's called, Flowers, Cats and Their Cute Friends on a Flower Path by Aikawa Sora, my spring seasonal favourite. Then for summer, I picked Mythographic Wild Summer. I mean, it's called Wild Summer and is a book that I'd definitely reach for in the summer months, although you can colour it other times of year, but I do think it does scream summer. Like so many water themed scenes, like sandcastles, beachy themes. Yeah, I really was drawn to this for the summer season. I do have this whip that I need to finish eventually, haven't got round to that yet. Yeah, I thought, looking at all my books, this was definitely the one I reached for most during summer. I was tempted to pick a Camila Angelkova book, 50 vacation themed miniatures. I seem to only ever want to colour that book in summer. So that was a very close second, but this one is just so stunning. Yeah, I did colour quite a few. I say quite a few, I think 2. I coloured 2 pages in summer when I got this book last year, so that was June. And then this one was in August. Yeah, then I started that B one. I think summer season ended. I didn't feel inspired to colour in this anymore. Then I didn't get around to it this summer. So one day I'll finish that B page for sure. And there's plenty more summery themed pages to occupy you in the meantime. And yes, you could colour it all year round. And I feel like some pages I definitely could, like this one. And others I'm just like, no, that's such a summery page. I couldn't imagine colouring this any other season of the year. And I definitely am a very, very seasonal colourist. Yeah, these pages, I just love them. So that was my seasonal pick for the summer season, Mythographic Wild Summer by Joseph Kattenbang. Then for autumn, I had to pick Teresa Goodridge's Autumn Charm colouring book by Creative Haven. I reach for this every autumn and I get excited to colour in this every autumn. It is one of my favourite Teresa books. I just love her style of drawing pumpkins and scenes like this. I am colouring this page this month. Here is the page, or one of the pages that I've done in here. Absolutely love the colour scheme of it. I did forget a blotter sheet at some point. Sorry. I've got some bleed through, but that shouldn't be too hard to cover up. It's lots of oranges, and I think these pages scream for orange. But yeah, definitely had to pick this book for autumn. Just love it. Autumn was probably the hardest one for me because I do have a few autumn specific books that I really love, but this was the one that definitely I love the most. I love that page with the sleeping kitty. So cute. Oh, bypass that ugly whip that I will never complete because I hate it. But that's fine. But I do have one more page that I've coloured in here, right at the back of the book. It was a whip for a long time and finally completed it last month. But yeah, if there's ever a book to colour in autumn, it's one of Teresa Goodridge's autumn books. She's got 3 or 4. Autumn Charm, she's got Autumn Harvest, Autumn Scenes. Maybe another one, I don't know. But that is my pick for my autumn seasonal favourite. Autumn Charm by Teresa Goodridge. Then for winter, I kind of cheated because I kind of picked a Christmas book, but I could see myself colouring this all winter. Winter is by far my least favourite season to colour in, but I love this Christmas themed book by Hannah Carlson, Godule. And I think there are some nice wintry pages. Some which are definitely Christmassy. In fact, most are definitely Christmassy. But some lovely wintry ones like this one. I would definitely colour that in the winter season. So far, I have coloured 2 actually. I was going to say 1, but I just remembered that I'd coloured this one at the start of this month for a project. But yeah, some gorgeous wintry scenes in here. I find snow quite boring and repetitive to colour, but I do love some of these wintry pages in here. And of course, December makes up 1/3 of the winter season, so I feel like this book fits that quite well. Because the only wintry specific one I have is the Colouring Heaven Winter or Matchstick Mouse Winter. And I thought it'd be boring to pick a I mean, all of these are seasonal specific books, but that would be boring to pick one of those. So I'm picking the Christmas theme book. And I definitely love this one. Love, love, love. Here is the first one I ever coloured in the book. Love how that turned out. I think I finished this, yeah, Christmas Eve. Watching the Christmas Eve, not Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. Watching the New Year's Eve countdown on TV. Yeah, looking forward to colouring another page next month, hopefully, in Hannah Carson's gorgeous Christmas book, God Yule, my favourite winter seasonal colouring book. Okay, we're getting there. Only 3 questions to go. Question 21, most whimsical or fun book? Again, another really hard question to answer because I've got quite a few whimsical books. This one stood out to me as the most whimsical and the most fun, and it's Lulu's House of Wonder. I just think you flip through this book and it is pure whimsy. I mean, you read this introduction and you have one-eyed monsters, all these creatures and characters. When she has a bath, she turns into a mermaid. If she's being creative, she turns into an otter. What's more whimsical than that? And I think the pages that I've coloured in here kind of show how whimsical things are. And I adore this book. I absolutely adore it. I mean, it's a bunch of animals making cakes. That's whimsy. That is whimsy. And I think it lends itself to bright, fun colours. Like this one, such a bright and fun page. Definitely whimsical. I mean, you've got an otter doing some sewing. I think a lot of Luna Mayo books are very whimsical in nature because they're not too realistic. They have lots of animals in them doing all sorts of things. But I think this one especially is extra whimsical and extra fun. And it is a lot. I just love this book. I do. I love all the big scenes, and you've got some smaller ones. Nice variety again in this book. Some simpler and some more complicated ones. We have a page here that I have coloured, and I think this might be one of my favourites for the year because it's got stickles. I love the stickles on the bubbles, and because it's a single-sided book, I feel like I can use stickles and not worry about the texture underneath. But yeah, love the bright fun colour palette on this page. I think you could pick any of Morgan O'Brien's books. They're pretty whimsical. I was thinking about Sarah Shevchik's spooky colouring books. A lot of the Japanese and Korean ones are very whimsical as well. But this was the one I picked for this question. There we go. So that is Luna Mayo's House of Wonder for the most whimsical or fun colouring book. Then question 22, I have the most realistic colouring book, and I had to pick Layla Judy's colouring books. I've got 3 of hers. I've got Walk in the Woods, Beautiful Planet and Floribunda Year, and all of these are very realistic. Sneak peek of the completed page there. And it does have kind of glossary of plants that she uses in the book, but I think there's just something about this art style that I would always want to colour it realistically. There are some other colouring book artists like Maria Troll who uses real flowers as inspiration, but you could colour them in a variety of different colours. But this, I feel like, for me, I would want to colour it realistically because the art style is so realistic. I wouldn't want to go crazy with my colours. I want it to be nice and natural, earthy. Yeah, I love it. I love this book. And it's got amazing paper as well. Could have picked this for good quality paper. You've got nice full scenes, little tiny objects on the page. So another book with nice variety. Even big double page spreads that would take you a million years to colour. Yeah, I think you can agree that this is a very realistic book. Almost like tracing over outlines of pictures that you could have taken, but they are all hand drawn by Layla. Flipping through this, I'm like, ooh, what book is she going to create next? Love to see. Maybe something quite spring-like. So I feel like this is quite an autumnal book, and then Beautiful Planet's a bit more summery. But that is definitely the most realistic book I have in my collection, Walk in the Woods, or any of Layla Julie's colouring books. And then the final question, number 23, the book you have ignored the longest, and that is Johanna Basford's Enchanted Forest. Now, I got this book and I was very inspired by it. I got it during September 2022, and I coloured several pages all in a row because my idea was to colour this book in order as you kind of go through the Enchanted Forest and find the little symbols. So I did colour quite a few, and I really love how both of these turned out. Really, really love them. Did this double page spread, kind of hate the pea yellow background, but I was able to live with that. And then I did this owl page and I just did not like it, and that's where I stopped. And that was, I think, probably late October, early November 2022, and I haven't coloured a single page since. And I don't know if I will come back to this book or when I will come back to this book. I don't mind having it in my collection and having it abandoned because it kind of shows my journey as a colourist. So I don't mind having this sitting on my shelf for another several few years. There are lovely pages in here that I'd love to colour. I don't know, I'm just not as drawn to Johanna Basford's art style anymore like I was when I first started colouring. I like some of her books, but others I'm not as drawn to, and that's okay. But I wouldn't destash this, at least not yet, because it does show that journey at the start. But this is definitely a book that I've neglected for the longest time. In fact, I think the top like 5 or 4 or 5 of the books I haven't coloured for the longest time were all Johanna Basford books, which just goes to show how my colouring tastes have changed. But there we go. That is the end of this very, very long tag video. My voice is hurting. I've been coughing in between takes. But I really, really loved joining in this tag. Thank you so much, Shelley, for tagging me. I will just bring back my list of colourists that I'm tagging in the video. It's Zuvira Art, Lauren Reed Colour, Polly Puts the Colour On, ALLJ Art, Paulina Art Stuff, Piggy Pens, Amy in Progress, Kate's Colouring Pages, and Holly Berry Colours. I'd love to see you all join in with this tag and create some videos on this. Definitely allow yourself a good amount of time to film it, and I'd recommend making yourself a drink before filming it because I definitely feel the need for a nice cup of tea now. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, or an answer to a question. I think a fun one to answer would be, what is your most whimsical or fun colouring book in your collection? I'd love to hear that from you in the comments. And if you would like to join in this tag but haven't been tagged specifically by me or anyone else, feel free to see this as your tag and tag me, tag Shelley. I'd love to see it. But thanks so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.